Watching you guys discuss what the price would be, predicting their price before release in my Discord server was pretty amusing. You guys kind of agreed that this has to be at least 56,000 yen or so, and then turns out you guys are way off, but in a good way. Cheaper is always better. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven with your weekly figure news fix. This time around 1st to 6th of September 2025. So we are now on the second 6-9 day of the year. Happy 6-9 day to all of you if you are still watching this on a Saturday. And I may sound quite different today because I am actually not well. I am down with a flu since Thursday evening, I think. And I spent most of my Friday resting, trying to recuperate. But I still need to get this out on time. I have been doing figure news fix for almost 3 years by now, and I have never missed a Sunday. So I'm filming this last minute on a Saturday evening. I had to edit this and upload it pretty much immediately. So for this week, we have an average amount of genuine and also third-party figures on pre-order. The genuine side is a lot more exciting. We have good 1x4 scales this week. And then later on in the third-party section, maybe there are 2 or 3 exciting figures. That is about it. Starting off with Hobby Link Japan as usual for the genuine figures, and we begin with the largest scale at 1x4. This is Prime 1 Studios 1x4 Premium Master Line Persona 5 Arsene, almost 193,000 yen, releasing in March 2027. Jace, you pay full amounts up front, which is the case with very expensive stuff like this because it is a high risk for any store taking pre-orders for stuff that cost over $1,000 US. So you pay the full amount up front and then you wait like 18 or 20 months because that March release is year 2027, not next year. Which begs the question because Prime 1 Studio is like ultra premium, but they seem to come up with new stuff to put on pre-order every month, sometimes a few figures in a single month, and the waiting list just keeps getting longer and longer. To be fair to Prime 1 Studio, they are not the only resin figure brand doing this. Figurama is also similar in this regard, but the waiting times are getting a bit ridiculous if I have to say something about it. And this thing is massive, 96 centimeters tall, 148 centimeters width, 1.5 meters. I think this is a bit much. They should have offered this in a 1x6 scale variant as well. Maybe they already have one, but I don't remember. So yeah, this one needs a 1x6 scale version. Just because you have the money for this thing, it does not mean you should go out and get one. You need to have a big house as well. For those of you multi-millionaires living in a big mansion. Yeah. Many of the big CEOs that you know from tech companies or anywhere else, any big companies, they may be secretly anime fans. You never know. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here, we have a pretty good week for 1x4 scales, and Freeing has came up with something really nice over here. 1x4 scale, My Shiranui Fatal Fury version, 36K, April release next year. So Freeing has these low detail bunny girl figures, plain white, plain black bunny outfit, 36,000 yen, when they obviously cost very little money to manufacture. Meanwhile, this one is obviously more expensive to make, but also 36,000 yen. So I guess you can blame licensing cost again. That has to be the case, right? So if you love My Shiranui, you may want to take a look at this because this is one of very few Freeing 1x4 scale figures this year that is actually outstanding. The ones that really come to mind, those 2 Senran Kagura figures, yeah, the Sakura Kimono ones at 40,000 yen, those were the best by Freeing this year. And then we had Clay and Bay from Nikke 1x4 scale cheerleading. Those are not bunny girls, but kind of unique. And then we have these, yeah, so I hope that Freeing stops with the bunny girl nonsense. I don't see them stopping, however. And give us stuff like this. Yeah, it does not matter if they follow the official artwork exactly the same, but give us something else rather than just bunny girls. I'm happy to see this. You should pre-order one if you love My Shiranui, or if you want to bet on this bargain binning after release, you don't want to pre-order, that is up to you. Just that my Shiranui is pretty popular in the world of fighting game characters, so do bear that in mind. Moving up next, we have Mime Yoi. Where have you guys been? They were MIA in the recent Wonder Festival, the summer one in July. They showed up in February One Fest, I think, Winter One Fest. And it has been months since they've placed anything new on pre-order. At least a couple of months. So this Katsuragi, I remember her very well from the previous One Fest. This is going for 36,000 yen, February release, and man, this is a must-have for Azur Lane fans. The pose and everything, perfect. And even though it is a bunny girl, yeah, but not your ordinary bunny girl. I love this so much. Just that Mime Yoi loves giving this premium feeling acrylic base to their figures, which is the same for my Taiho, and they are so easily scratchable. I scratched mine very badly, and then the owners of Mime Yoi 1x4 scale figures told me, yeah, they can relate. But as long as the figure is fine, you're good to go, I suppose. Maybe you can wrap the base in, I don't know, foot wrapper plastic or something to protect it. Yeah, it is ugly, but at least it protects the base. So this is a must-have for Azur Lane fans. Go and pre-order one. Moving up next, we now enter 1x6 scale territory. The first one here is from last week, already on pre-order on Ami, so I won't go into detail again. Coming from Bear Panda 1x6 scale, the Hungry Lamp, 11K May release. So Bear Panda is like one of the better low budget figure brands out there. You like what you're looking at, you just smash the pre-order button, you don't have to worry that much. And in fact, some of their figures, just like Animaster, some of their low budget figures, they actually go up slightly in value after release, so you can't go wrong pre-ordering their stuff as long as you like them. Moving up to the next one, new figure this week. Azur Lane Jade, a good girls magic version from any game at 1x6 scale, 17,400 yen, releasing in July next year. Is this really Jade from Azur Lane? I feel like this is Elena from the Journey of Elena. Oh yeah. It has to be an Azur Lane character because she isn't wearing much clothes. So any game, budget Azur Lane figures that are value for money. I've reviewed only one single figure from them. And yes, it is an Azur Lane figure. So it is not perfect, but the kind of value they're offering, a tall 1x6 scale figure, and it is a high quality scale figure. There is not much major faults over there. They are good purchases in general, especially for people who are not keen on spending 25-30k for each Alter Azur Lane figure. Then any game is a brand you should look into. Their figures are simpler, not as detailed, not as flashy in a way, no giant ship parts, but hey, that is a good alternative for people who don't want to spend too much on figures. Moving up next, we have one of our main highlights this week, coming from Alter, 1x7 scale Goddess of Victory Nikke, Noir and Blanc, X777 version. Or is there a different way to pronounce that 777 over there? I'm not sure. For example, people from Thailand, when you see them type 555, that is not 555, that is ha ha ha. Because 5 in Thai is pronounced as ha, right? So I'm not sure if there is a different way to pronounce that. But two bunny girls from Alter for 38k, that means 19,000 yen each. Wow! Releasing in September 2026. So, watching you guys discuss what the price would be, predicting their price before release in my Discord server was pretty amusing. You guys kind of agreed that this has to be at least 56,000 yen also, and then turns out you guys are way off, but in a good way. Cheaper is always better. I wasn't sure how to predict, to be honest, because Alter's pricing is kind of erratic, as you can see over here. Maybe these are plain bunny girls, they are not too complex, which is why the manufacturing cost is lower, my speculation. But the two big questions over here, can you display the two figures separately? That's question number one. Question number two is that, are they getting fabric stockings? My guess is no for both questions, right? So firstly, if you were to display the two figures separately, then Alter will need to give us separate cast-offable parts for Noir. Not cast-offable, but swappable parts, because her left opie is squished against Blanc, right? So it is not proper shape. So if you were to display them separately, then one opie would be wrong shape, and then you need to replace it. And there are no seam lines to suggest that that would be the case over here. So I don't think it is possible. Maybe the two figures are even glued together and you can't separate them, but I am okay with that. And then since both figures are glued together, I don't think they get fabric stockings. Of course, you can always put on the stockings on the figure first before you glue them together, but you know what? The stocking that Blanc is wearing over there, it is not the typical fishnet stocking. It is like the satin cloth type. It is like a proper pants, but body tight, leg tight. You get the shape of the leg. So it is not exactly a fishnet stocking, which is why I think it is unlikely that you will get any fabric stocking. What Alter is most likely to do is to give the figures stockings a soft touch satin coating. So there are many different kinds of clear coating to protect a figure's paint after they are done painting it. There is the soft touch skin coating, which many brands are using, including Amakuni. When you touch the figure's skin, it feels like touching human skin. There is a soft texture to it, even though it is a solid surface. And then there are also coatings that give you this fabric satin feeling. It feels like touching cloth. Yeah, we call it a satin coating, which is most likely what Alter will finish this figure in. And personally, I would prefer that, so not complaining. This is a must-have for fans of Goddess of Victory Nikke. Moving on to the next one, we have two FGO figures this week. The next one is in Army later on. So the first one here, Solomon. This is pretty random. Coming from Cyber Agent or Eastream or Shibuya Scramble figure, 35k November release. I personally don't recall this figure being shown to us in grey prototype in any anime event earlier this year, but someone did mention that this figure was displayed as a prototype in an event last year, which explains why I don't remember anything. So this one came out of nowhere. And in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of his pose. I think it looks pretty rigid, pretty stiff, doesn't look natural to me. But guess what? Most likely you guys are never getting an alternative when it comes to a figure of Solomon. There is a slim chance where Alter may make one because they also do 1/8 scale FGO male character figures, but outside of Eastream and Alter, I don't see any other brands making a scale of Solomon. So regardless of whether you like this one or not, maybe there are small issues you may want to complain about, but you don't have a choice. If you like him, you need to pre-order it. For me, I won't be bothered because I have enough female characters to pre-order and purchase. Yeah, I don't have the budget to buy figures of male characters. Moving up next, another Fate character but not FGO. I'm actually surprised that Fate Khalid Liner is 15 years old, given that this is Ilias Viel von Einsburn 15th anniversary version. Wow, time really flies. So by Kadokawa, 26,000 yen, March release next year. And if you want the Kadokawa special set, which has some merchandise in the box, you need to get it on Ami. That one is Ami exclusive. So this is a great looking Ilya figure. I like it a lot. But that plastic stand on her knee is really an eyesore. Not that Kadokawa has a choice, because the figure is connected on the back into the photo frame, which is part of the base, and no, that is not sufficient to support the weight of the figure. They need to support her from below, right? They don't have a choice over here, I get it. But it is still an eyesore for sure. And most likely they base this off an official artwork. So if the official artwork depicts Ilya as flying, they need to replicate it. They have to be faithful to the original artwork, and then yeah, give us a solution like this to support the figure. Man, it really sucks. 26k is kinda expensive. I wouldn't call it overpriced yet, but it is expensive because that photo frame background looks pretty cool, I have to admit that. Moving on to the next one, we have a pair of Licorice Recoil figures from Proof. just under 20,000 yen each. We have Chisato Nishikigi winter clothes version and also Takina Inoue. And my opinion on these two, they are a tad bit overpriced, right? Because I am always comparing figures between different brands. So the best example I can give is Good Smile Company. They gave us Blue Archive scale figures, the dress version. They are like 18,000 yen each. Good Smile also has Queen's Essential quintuplet figures, the 5 sisters, at 1/6 scale, 18,000 yen each. They also have Oshinoko date style figures, 1/6 as well, 18,000 yen each. So when you compare it to these two, this pair of figures by both will seem quite a bit overpriced. They shouldn't be more than 15 or 16,000 yen each. Yeah, I know I'm just being a cheapskate over here, but when figures keep becoming more expensive, you want to be wiser in choosing your purchases. So that is how I cope with rising prices in general. I don't see myself quitting this hobby ever. I love it. But I need to do something about rising prices and be smart about my purchases. Yeah. So these two, maybe wait for bargain bins after release. Yeah. There are other options for these two characters. If you want their figures, you don't necessarily need to get these two. They are very photogenic though. Yeah, they look like fashion models posing for a photograph. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here, Honkai Star Rail Runway Diorama, past self in mirror version. By Mietos, 9,500 yen, February release next year. Can you even call this a diorama? This is more like a 3D photo frame. I've said this like 3 times, but I find it hilarious when I watched disappointed people and their reactions. When Mietos first announced a figure, apostrophe figure of Runway coming, they were celebrating, yay, I don't have to buy third parties again. And then it turns out to be this thing over here, not a proper figure. Will we ever get a proper Runway scale figure? There is a small chance Apex Toys might do it, just that Apex Toys is very busy. They are making too much stuff. Their figures require at least 1 year of wait from the date of pre-order. So yeah, there is a slim chance, but Apex has not given us so many Honkai or Genshin figures that people have been asking for. Who knows when we will get them. Runway is another one of those characters where it is a 50-50 chance maybe. Yeah. So for now, you need to settle for this. This photo frame over here. Moving on to the next one, we have a pair of underwhelming figures from Solaren. I'm sorry Solaren, but that is honestly what I feel. So these are original characters by Rosu Uri, White Rabbit Rosu, 18,000 yen, October release next year. And her other counterparts over here, Cheshire Cat Mika. No, not the Azur Lane one. 18k as well, also October 2026 release. So the way I look at these two figures, you have to be a big fan of the artist to buy it. Because this pair of figures, they look like boring swimsuit figures for some reason. Like, not much detail going on. They remind me of the cheaper swimsuit figures by Treasure, Our Treasure, a figure brand. Or maybe 10 years ago, Wave Corporation and their Beach Queens. It really reminds me of that, yeah. So low detail, not much shading, maybe other than the hair over there. I'm not even close to being attracted. Yeah. So, what do you think about these two figures over here? I feel like they are being overshadowed by everything else on pre-order this week. Moving on to the next one from Kotobukiya with 1/7 scale SNK Orochi Shermie Bishoujo statue, 16k April release. You know, these fighting game character fans, including Street Fighter and many others, they are really lucky to have Kotobukiya committing to this series of Bishoujo figures over the past decade, I think. So they keep coming up with these. They are great value purchases in general, not too expensive, but the quality is great. And this Shermie over here, I love her shiny red outfit. Big fan of red leather jacket suits. Just that I'm not sure how are you going to be able to kick properly wearing a tight miniskirt like that. Don't question anime or game logic, I know. Moving on to the next one, finally Kaede Takagaki is on pre-order. I think it was roughly 2 to 3 weeks ago. Kanzaki Ranko went on pre-order by the same brand, Wave Corporation. And they were known for this glowing neon blue paint, as you can see over here, from the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls, just under 22,000 yen, May release next year. So back then I asked this question, I'm going to ask it again, what are the conditions to make them glow? Because if I have to use UV light, then no thank you. Normal light, maybe. But at the same time, these things, they are the kind of gimmick features where you may try 2 or 3 times, when you buy your first new figure, you finally unbox it, and you want to test out the feature that comes with the figure, you may try to make it glow, and you do it 2 or 3 times and then you get bored of it, you never do it again. So maybe it is not that big of an issue even though you're supposed to use UV light to make it glow. I don't see people repeatedly trying to make it glow over and over for the next 6 months, 12 months of ownership of this figure. It is a big pain in the butt to keep monitoring whether the figure glows or not, right? So it is a short-term thing, I suppose, and in that sense, maybe can go for it. Yeah. Wave Corporation, extremely experienced figure company, toy company in general. They also make model kits, and their quality is great, so you don't have to worry about the background of this figure brand. Moving on to the next one, another Kotobukiya Bishoujo statue, 1/7 scale, My Little Pony Princess Cadence, 21k, March release next year. And man, the gold color paint, that has to be one of the shiniest gold paint I've ever seen. But whether they will melt in hot weather remains to be seen. Because many cheaper figures, at least, the gold color paint, they don't really hold up well in hot and humid weather. But admittedly, the ones that did not last well, most of the cases are price figures. So hopefully the gold paint on this will last for a long time because they look amazing. My Little Pony, I don't know what is up with this thing. They are supposedly made for children, but the adults are the ones that are big fans and buying the merchandise. So you may want to pick this one up if you are a big fan of My Little Pony. Moving on to the next one, we have re-releases a pair of Idolmaster Cinderella Girls figures by PM Office A, or formerly known as Blanc. Hayate Hisakawa, just under 22,000 yen after a small discount. November release, this November, 3 months away. And also her sister Nagi Hisakawa, same price, same release month. And I'm a bit surprised that these 2 figures are getting re-released already because they came out just not too long ago. But PM Office A, they have already short turnover. They announce a figure on pre-order and then they'll release it 3 to 4 months later. Yeah. And then if there is insufficient stock, like the case over here, they re-release it again and then you just wait another 3 to 4 months. Which is not a bad strategy, if I have to be honest. I like long waits. Admittedly, I like long waits for pre-orders because I need time to save up money. But a short wait is better for most collectors, I think, because you get your stuff fast. Just that whether you will be able to save up quickly remains the question, isn't it? I'm a bit surprised that these 2 are getting re-released because, Plum figures are not exactly that high demand, but maybe that is a different case in Japan. IMAS is extremely popular in Japan, especially the game. Moving on to the next one, Mega House GGG Gundam Guys Generation Zeta Gundam Quattro Bergina, 18,000 yen, April release. This may seem like a funny name for those of you who know nothing about Gundam and you never watch any series, but this dude over here has been a meme in the Gundam franchise, in the Gundam community for the last 40 years or so. Gundam Zeta is old, I believe it is from the 1980s. And I think that was a remaster, right? Remaster or trilogy of movies, I can't remember. But the original Gundam Zeta is like 40 years old by now. And yes, Sunrise and Bandai, they did give this guy the name Quattro Bergina. 4 VJJs for some reason. I have no idea why. You have to ask Bandai why did they name him that way. Probably on purpose, right? Because some other Gundam series like Gundam 00, Gundam 00 has plenty of weird names as well, especially among the innovators. So, given that this is a walking meme, Gundam fans will want one. If they missed out the previous release, this is a limited reprint. It is a re-release. Get it if you don't have him yet. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here. Now we enter low budget scale figure territory. So the first one is by Infinity Studio and SSR figure, a pair of them. We have Kefeng-chan summer version, which is tanned skin from the looks of it. Just under 12,000 yen, March release next year. And we have an even darker one, dark chocolate over here, Dark Elf Dancer. Same thing, 11,800 yen and releasing in March next year. So, a figure of an anime character being this dark is quite uncommon nowadays. There was this Dark Elf from many years ago. Many brands made a scale figure of her. I can't even remember her name anymore. That one was extremely popular. And since then, we did get a number of tanned skin characters, but a character this dark being made into a figure is not exactly common, so I do appreciate SSR figure going a different route this time around, giving us collectors something slightly different. So the thing with these two figures is that once you go through the pictures over here, the official pictures, you can easily tell why they are so affordable. They are not exactly premium scale level in terms of detail, right? But at this price over here, not complaining. I have reviewed two figures from this brand already, a premium scale and also a low budget scale. I think they are fine, they are great purchases. You just need to like the character. Yeah. This is also the kind of figure which I think you need to get both. Getting only either one doesn't really make much sense. You know, for more, it feels like something is missing when you know there is another half of the figure is missing. Yeah. And this could be intentional by design. Right? Same thing with Kurokawa Mio, which is probably out by now. They gave us two versions for the deluxe version, and then the deluxe version is so attractive that it is encouraging you to buy the more expensive version. I mean, we will see. Infinity Studio has a long history of making figures coming in pairs because they want to make you buy both. Clever strategy, but as long as the figures are good, no complaints from me. Moving up next, we have Rebo's Rise Up, Honkai Star Rail, Danheng, which I call it Lolly version, or in this case, Shota version. In Bibita Lunai version, 9,000 yen, March release. So Weibos as a Chinese brand, they are going a very different route from most other Chinese brands. They like to make cute stuff, kawaii stuff, tea time cat girls. And then their Honkai figures, including Silver Wolf, they do lolly versions like this, which is nice really, being different from everyone else, and people are actually buying them because they are great in quality as well. So this is a brand that I can easily vouch for in case you are interested in this figure. Moving on to the next one, the last two figures on HLJ, we have, Mega House GEM Ranma Half, palm size figure, as you can see, tiny figures for people who live in a dog cage, and and we have shampoo over here also for Ranma, from Ranma. It sounds cruel, but if you look at some documentaries on the poorest people, especially in Hong Kong, the kind of cage houses they live in, they are literally like dog cages. Granted, those people won't be buying stuff like this, they can't even afford a decent living, but yeah, these kind of figures are for people who live in small, tiny apartments, I suppose. That is all for the HLJ section. Now we move on to Ami for some exclusive items. Before I proceed, I have a small favor to ask from everyone. If you're watching this or even listening to this as a podcast, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do subscribe. It is just one click away, one tap away from your screen, and it does not cost you anything, and you are helping this channel grow. So thanks a lot for subscribing if you have already done so. Alright, back to Ami over here. When I saw this figure, it got me thinking, how long has it been since the last time we got a One Piece 1x4 scale figure from Free Ink? Has it been years or we never got one in the first place? I don't remember, man. So, One Piece stuff, Nami and Boa Hancock, they are the kind of stuff that will sell on their own. So, it is a bit weird that until Today, we don't have any yet from Freeing. Finally, we have a Nami bikini version or swimsuit version at 1.4 by Freeing right here for 33,000 yen. But the bad news is that it is an Ami exclusive. 33,000 yen only, March release next year. So if you want to support licensed genuine stuff, then this is something you should get. Otherwise, you can explore a lot of options from third parties out there at various different scales, all the way to 1x3, 1x2 scale even. Yeah. Moving up next, we have another Ami exclusive, Naruto Gale's Hinata Hyuga version 2 by Mega House, 22,000 yen. February release next year. And yeah, it is expensive because even though it is non-scale on paper, once again, Mega House really loves to make their figures small. They are roughly 1x8 scale. This thing is roughly 22 centimeters. Roughly. So it is somewhere in between 1x8 and 1x7, but not close to 1x7 at all. Moving on to the next one, also from the Gales series, we have Mega House Evangelion. Misato Katsuragi and Pen Pen, 23,100 yen, releasing in February once again. And I'm not sure if this is shadow or actual paintwork. If this is actual paintwork, man, the paintwork is really good. The shading over here on her blouse, right? Sleeveless blouse. So, product pictures look great, and at least we're getting something the base over here, not a plain round disc base. And given that we always get Asuka and Rei all the time, and to a lesser extent Makinami, yeah, having a Katsuragi Misato figure is always welcome. Moving on to the next one, Ami exclusive, we have Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight, 24,200 yen, releasing in February as well. Man, I love this thing. Right, I am a sucker for pretty girls in armor with a weapon. The shiny metallic armor is my kind of thing, but no, I'm not touching Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't even know how to play the card game at all. And then the next two figures over here, they are barely human. I did not know whether to cover them. It feels incomplete, you know, when you cover Dark Magician Girl but skip past these two. So, a quick mention. We have Yubel over here, 8,600 yen. Of course, tiny figure, which is why it is so cheap. The dimensions of this thing is like, yeah, 12 centimeters, what the heck. And then we have, this side is not human, yeah, Black Demon Dragon, 8,600 yen, February release as well. Now moving on to something that is actually hot. Super Sonico and Konosuba crossover or collaboration. So we have Super Sonico dressed up as Megumin at 27,000 yen for the Kadokawa special set, which is the one you should get not just because of the bonus items in the box, the merchandise, but also because you're getting a second torso with an exposed cleavage. That is what Sonico is about after all. Her big melons, and also a shy faceplate. So this is the one you should get. 27k is not cheap, but I think it is a great purchase for something like this. And I suppose that Sonico can give us a bigger explosion than Megumin because, no, bigger nipples. I mean, bigger ripples. Just that it is a shame that this figure is not partially castable. And when I say castable, I mean exposed opie, because I have 3 Sonico figures in my collection. They are all old figures, but all 3 of them are castable. So I would love Kadokawa to give us that. But going by the pictures over here, you're not getting that. You're getting only exposed cleavage. Better than nothing, I suppose. Moving on to the next one here, we have Love Live Ellie Ayase from Love Live Days, 5th anniversary version. Well, it is 5th anniversary for Love Live Days, but the original Love Live is at least 10 years old by now, I think, where she is a part of. So this is by Kadokawa, under 23k after a small discount, and releasing in March next year. So this figure went on pre-order on Thursday, and now 3 days later, she is not yet available on HLJ. And many Kadokawa figures are like that for some reason. Yeah, so indirectly, it is kinda exclusive. You want her, you can only get her on Ami. Ellie Ayase, even until today, she is still one of the most popular Love Live characters, even though she is from the oldest series in a way. Moving up next, we have the second FGO figure of the week, also by Eastream or Shibuya Scramble figure of Cyber Agent. which makes it really weird because one is available on HLJ, but the other, this one is not yet available at the time of recording. Maybe we need to wait for another week because this is not an exclusive. So they are from the same movie, Marsh Twilight, and I personally call this the several seconds before being vaporized by a big ass laser version. Yeah.
As El Model Salomonis.
Yeah, Gatia spit a giant laser on her and I think she was gone, right? At least that is the message, or that is what I surmised from watching the movie. This is her in her final moments tanking that big ass laser. And you know what? I like it a lot. Even though I am normally not a fan of effect parts in anime figures. But this one is different in the sense that it is well executed, the effect part, and it is not completely translucent. Number 2 is that this is an accurate depiction of what we saw in the game and also in the anime, the movie adaptation. It is relatable. It is not some random anime character with effect parts for the sake of it, just to increase the cost of the figure. In this case, this is actually based off something. And you can also display this figure without the laser effect part if you wish, because you do not want to suffer from PTSD again. You do not want to be reminded of your waifu being melted, being vaporized into nothing, then you can do so. And with that base over there, the rock base, the effect part, I think 35,000 yen is a great price. Expensive, yes. Overpriced, not really. I want it really badly. I have only one single Marsh Twilight figure, the oldest one by Aniplex from year 2015 or so. Time to get a new one. I wanted the stronger version, right? That is the best Marsh Twilight figure up to this point, but the stronger version is like, her pose is a bit odd. It is like she is doing a catwalk in the midst of a battle, what the heck? But detail-wise and craftsmanship, that is the best Marsh Twilight figure. Yeah, the one by Stronger. So this one comes as highly recommended. Shibura Scramble figure, they make great figures. Moving up next, also a Shibura Scramble figure that is not yet on HLJ. We have my teen romantic comedy snafu. Iroha Ishiki Starry Dress. I think this is the third figure in this series. The other two characters, including Yui Yuigahama, they are already on pre-order. 23,000 yen only, September, released next year. Looks great. I mean, yellow and blue, they are great color combinations. I'm not touching any figure from this series. Nope. Moving on to the next one. The last two figures, they are two versions of the same figure. And yes, it is from Ami's major content section. And unfortunately for this one, I couldn't show much. So this is from Kuro Ino. I'm sure those of you who watch cultured content or play cultured games know what Kuro Ino is. They have hot dark elves in there. This is one of them. Olga Discordia DX set. There were third parties making figures of her out there at even 1x4 scale. Yeah. So this is the DX version. Comes with the throne over there, or the chair. 36k. And you can have the figure only at almost 30,000 yen. Of course, go all out and get the full set. I mean, you are already paying 30,000 yen for a figure. Why hold back and get the basic version? Go all out and get everything. Yeah. So that is all for Ami. Our last stop for genuine figures is Ninin Game. So we have this Catgirl TT, 10th Catgirl, by Forge Japan, which means you can't cast off. This is all you get. 24k at 1x5 scale, releasing in March. And then there is the Hadaka version by Insight, 24k March release as well. Followed by School Swimsuit 109 Futa Girl. Oh, Futa. They seem to be selling well though. Otherwise, why would Insight keep making them? This one coming out in March. And also Door to Door Opai Milk Saleswoman. Melee. A re-release. You see, people keep buying this trash by Insight and then they have to re-release it. 24k at 1x6 scale, March release as well. And that is all for genuine figures on pre-order this week. Actually, there's one more, which I can't even put on screen because number one, it is lolly character, and number two, it has bukake all over her face. I can't even show anything on screen, so I would rather not talk about it. So if you want to check out that figure, just go to niningame.com and then you type in Insight in the search and you'll find it, right? It is near the top row. So, and that is all for genuine figures on pre-order this week. Now we move on to third parties. making use of OSGK, which, just like HLJ, they are a partner of this channel, but they are in the third-party section, even though they sell both genuine and third-party figures at the same time. So this week we have a moderate amount of figures and more 1x1 scale adult dolls stuff, which I'll go through very quickly because I doubt any of you are interested in it. Alright, so starting off with the chibi figure section, our first section, we have two Anyas this week. The first one is by Forest Rabbit Studio, Anya cosplay, and what is she cosplaying over here? Cosplaying as her own parents, interesting. So cosplaying as your $79. Yeah, that is her mom's outfit indeed. The face is a bit weird though. Yeah. And then we have cosplaying as Lloyd. I'm not sure if I like this, unfortunately. And then Anya herself. $79 each or $210 for all three. I'm not sure if this is a good figure of Anya. I think ZH Studio is doing a far better job with their crossovers, which brings us to the second one here by ZH Studio, cosplaying as Obito, $113. As usual, you have the primary color with her in her original pink hair. Yeah, this is pretty badass, I have to admit. And then there is her in Obito's black hair. I'm not sure how to choose because both actually look great and both still looks like Anya. It is so obvious it is Anya. $113 is fine for something like this considering the detailed base, and this is, what is the height? Oh, no mention of it, but it should be roughly like 16 centimeters or so. They are roughly 1/6 scale, so yeah. Moving on to the next one here, chibi version of Free Run by RA Studio, $93. December release. This is pretty cute. So is this actually a mimic of fake treasure or actually the real thing? Because is she sitting on gold coins? I'm not too sure. I can't really tell from the pictures over here. I can't zoom in. But anyways, this is pretty cute and I can see some free run collectors will want this. $93 and the size of this thing is 18 centimeters, not bad at all. Yeah. Moving up next, we have Nezuko cosplaying as Mitsui by Pompon Studio. So the small size version, normal figure size 11 centimeters is $77. And then the big size version is $345. 50 centimeters, that is roughly 1/2 scale, I think. Pretty hard to estimate when she's sitting like that. Yeah, that is all. That is pretty close to life size, right? Life size of the chibi Nezuko version we saw in the anime. Alright. $345 though. Wow. They're using an actual cosplayer to promote this thing. Interesting. I hope that they don't make this thing in resin completely because that would be really fragile and very heavy. Yeah. Let me see if they did mention anything on the material part. No mention of what materials being used. Usually for something this big, you can mix it with a bit of polyvinyl to cut down on the weight and make it less fragile. Moving on to the next one, we have this Nico Robin. What the heck is this? I have no idea. And why would people even buy this thing? This is by YZ Studio. March release, $59. What the... Is this like a meme figure or what? I'm not sure. Man, my nose is pretty stuffy by now. What is this thing? I mean, it is... It looks hilarious to me at least, and I know that is one of her abilities, but what the heck is this thing? Moving up next, another chibi figure, Charlotte Melisse from One Piece by MDS Studio, $57. The height of this thing is under 10 centimeters. Don't bother, man. Buy yourself a nice Nendoroid. Yeah. Alright, moving on to the next one. We have 4 or 5 adult dolls. You know what this thing is because they cost over $2,000 and they are life-sized. So I'll just go through them quickly. My obligation as part of Figure News, I go through everything new for the week. So by the same company I covered last week, Beslia, Succubus Wind Chime Makeup #1 Silicone Doll up to $2,500. And then here we have, wow, by the same company, Platycodon Grandi Floral Makeup. Wow, what? The name, man. The name of the doll. Wow. This one is up to $3,500. And then the next one here, this is my favorite because it reminds me of a very specific artwork. I think, in fact, they are copying that artwork. There is a scale figure of this character. Can't remember which company made it. Probably Vibrastar. This Succubus Nun over here. Yeah, they made a life-size doll out of it for $1,100. Why is this so cheap? Man, don't tempt me. No, I'm not buying it, but don't tempt me. $1,100. That is cheap. Alright, next one here. Ultra Makeup 1x1 scale. $3,500. Generic nurse. No, thank you. Nurse are too mainstream. Yeah. The next one here by the same company again, Unsociable Widow, Snow Woman, and the Cursed Ring too. Reminds me of another character, original art, very popular one, and many edgy brands made figures of her. Obviously, I don't remember the name, and I think this character is based off that character. Yeah, up to $1,100. This one is also cheap. Moving up next, we are now finally back to normal figures. So we are now entering original character territory. TGZW Studio licensed character, their own original character, Latex Series Part 2 Secret Investigator. And for some reason, this Secret Investigator over here reminds me of a very specific JAV video. Yeah, I watched it. You don't have to question me on that. I mean, it reminds me of that video, like, including the cover image they're coming up with over here. It is like a DVD cover image. I like the creativity there. Yeah, this is hot. This is pretty. No problems with it. Just that give us, you know, characters of popular game characters or anime characters. Yeah, get the license, fine. It may be more expensive. The jewelry from Street Fighter made by this company looked amazing. So give us more figures like that. Yeah. Obviously, I couldn't scroll through the pictures. It is a big pain in the butt to censor her opai over there, but you can always go through the pictures yourself. Moving on to the next one here by SGD Studio, we have Evangelion Ayanami Asuka. Ayanami Rei and Asuka Langley. Okay, 1x3 scale. And don't worry, I know you are cringing on that realistic face over there. You can get her with an extra anime head. So each of them cost $862. Wow. They don't have pictures of it. 1x3 scale. I'm not sure if I like it. Yeah, they are very pretty, no question. They look great, and probably they will get the anime version faces right as well. Very few companies screw up the faces of Ayanami Rei and, you know, Asuka, but still no pictures. And they're implying that we can cast off this thing. Nice. So the plug suit is actually castable. They don't even need to show us Hadaka pictures. The fact that you can dress it up differently tells us a lot already. Moving up next, another pair of Rei and Asuka figures. A set for $231 only at 1x6 scale by Strange Thief Studio, releasing in March next year. So yeah, they are pretty meh, right? Pretty plain, but at least they are affordable. And for fans of these two characters over here, I suppose that people will still want it. There will be people who will purchase or pre-order this. You can also get them separately for $130 each, but why would you do that? Moving on to the next one, we have Yunchi Studio and Egg Studio One Piece Hancock and Luffy. $579 at 1/6 scale, March release. Let's have a closer look. Oh no, I can't zoom in. The image isn't high res enough. Alright, at least we do have close-up pictures. Alright, much better. Oh, they gave Boa Hancock a good makeover. Boa Hancock's face does not look like this. This is like you get an already pretty woman and then you do 5 layers of makeup. Yeah, and this is what you get. It still looks like Boa Hancock somehow, but at the same time, this is not what Boa Hancock looks like based on what I remember. Does that make it a bad figure? Of course not. This is all down to personal taste, right? It is still a very exquisite looking figure. I actually do like it. Just that. Yeah. Very pretty indeed, and lots of details going on this figure. Basically, two 1x6 scale figures and a massive base for $579, not too expensive. About the right price for something this big. Moving up next, this is random. From Make Zero Studio, we have Pretty Cure series Momozono Love, $195 at 1/6 scale, releasing in September next year. No, I never really watched Pretty Cure. I'm not sure what it is, but I don't recall Pretty Cure having characters with this big oppai. Or is this actually something they made on their own? They made her bust big because, people would buy them. Some third parties, they do love to give anime and game characters a big boob job, right? So, I'm not sure what this character looks like originally, but putting that aside, this is very nice. I like it. And for Pretty Cure, I don't think there are many genuine figures from this series either, even though the show has been going on like forever. Moving on to the next one here, we have another Jack O-Pose figure. It has been a while since the last time I saw one. This is by More Cool Studio. The figures tend to be on the affordable side of things. Same thing for this Megumin over here. $113 releasing this December. And the bad news is that no, she is wearing black underwear underneath. You're not getting anything Hadaka. Still a fun figure to have, It is something funny to display on your shelf. So go for it if you like what you're looking at over here. I wonder if they will give us Darkness and Aqua, especially Darkness. Moving up next, we have Mengchuan Studio Hololive Rabbit Pekra, $212 at 1/6 scale. No release date yet. Can't say I like it, though fans of this character would probably eat her up. You love your MILFs, right? So to me, this is just black lingerie, nothing much. But hey, some people beg to differ. And Hololive characters, but with fan service, I don't think any genuine brands will ever make figures like this. Mengchuan Studio, I don't know anything about them though. Moving on to the next one from Cool Bear Studio. I'm too poor to say. Otherwise, I would have purchased their Nier Automata 2B figure long time ago. A 1x4 scale, yeah. It was $600. Was, today I don't know. This brand makes amazing figures, yeah. So we have Dungeon Fighter Female Swordsman Series Sword Emperor, $526 at 1/4 scale. No release date yet. Now we are in game character territory. This is just the first one. Before this, it was anime character territory. Alright, so this one is not my cup of tea because it is too safe for work. Hehe. Well, the gauntlet is still... Man, I like it. I love armor. Base is great. Sometimes it can be pretty hard to differentiate licensed and unlicensed figures when the unlicensed ones are getting this good. Man, this is pretty nice for $526. Moving on to the next one, Gifted Creation Studio has a Nier Automata 2B or Stellar Blade Eve, depending on which one you choose. Yeah, the same body, but you can swap out the head somehow. So 2B, her face looks great, and then I love the texture on her outfit over here. Yeah, as you can see, you can swap out the head, you can switch it out, but if I want a Stellar Blade statue or figure, I would want her to be wearing her tight bodysuit or any outfit that I saw in the game. I'm not sure if I will want her in 2B's outfit. It feels like looking at Eve cosplaying as 2B. So I'm not too sure. But this one, if I were to pre-order this one, if I were to purchase one, I would stick to 2B, I suppose, even though I would not lie that this looks pretty badass as well. Like, this crossover, it makes so much sense and they blend in very nicely. right? Maybe because both are science fiction, you know, they have the same setting in a way, so they blend in very nicely and they don't look weird. It makes sense. I mean, with one single statue, one single figure, you appeal to two different fan bases, you end up selling more figures just by having a different head. Yeah, it makes sense. This kind of business strategy over here. Just that, I would stick to 2B in this case. I love both characters equally, but given the outfit she's getting over here, I would stick to 2B. Yeah. Moving on to the next one here. Oh, Fate Stay Night Medusa is getting another figure. I think it was just a week or two ago we got a very nice resin figure of her. That one was better. This one is just a bunny girl, but at least Medusa is getting some justice. So coming from Beast Studio, we have Medusa Bunny Girl at $169. This figure is castable, and regardless of which version you buy, you are going to get it as part of the package. Only the top is castable. You can expose her oppai, right? So version A and version B, the difference is, barrel leg or stockings leg, up to you. I prefer with stockings. $169 is okay, and her face looks great. But if you were to ask me, is this actually a recast of an existing GK? I have no idea. There is a possibility given that this company has a history of doing that, but I'll leave it up to you to decide whether to grab it because we don't get many Medusa figures nowadays. Face is looking pretty good. So, you know, at this price of $169, you get extra torso, extra oppai, and also extra face plate. More like an extra head sculpt, right, with the blindfold on. So this is not a bad value at all. Quite cheap, in fact, for a third-party resin figure. Moving on to the next one, we have SWS Studio Arc Knights Pole Dance Series No. 1 Texas. $212. Releasing this December. I like the concept of this figure, and the pose is very nice, right? Just that the entire figure is black in color. I wish that they mixed up the colors a bit. Her hair is already black. Make her wear a red color outfit or something else. Yeah, the whole thing is black, just ruins the figure a little bit. The figure needs to be more vibrant, more attractive. Yeah. Such a shame because I think this figure has potential, to be honest. $212 seems about right. Could be cheaper, but seems about right. Moving on to the next one, Genshin Impact Yelan from Singer Studio. Okay, Yelan at the gym, and she is not wearing anything. I think this figure is castable, just that the company is not explicitly saying so, right? On paper, the figure is covered. Her chest is covered with a towel. But going by the preview pictures they are showing, there is a possibility where the towel is attached to the figure by magnets, which means no holes, nothing. You can just lift it up and you get to see her oppai in its full glory. Of course, if you want more clarification on this, you need to ask the store OSGK selling this figure, or they will help you reach out to the manufacturer for clarification. Of course, I'm not sure. I'm just speculating. But given how they gave that preview picture over there, which I've censored already. They gave us that preview picture showing how her nips are almost showing, almost there, but covered perfectly at the same time. It is like teasing us, people who will pre-order a figure, that this is potentially customable, at least for the top, right? So I have no clue because OSGK did not mark this figure as an 18 plus figure, so I wouldn't get my hopes up. It is still a really good fan service figure, but a bit too plain and boring. I mean, just blue, white, and black, not much colors going on. Feels like a low effort figure, but at least she is only $130, pretty cheap. Moving on to the next figure here, we have another Firefly figure. She is very popular from the looks of it. This is by Genius B Studio, and she is wearing just lingerie. No price yet. This is an early bird pre-order. Deposit $50. No release date yet. My prediction for this would be maybe $160, $180. Yeah, maybe. Shouldn't be too expensive. Shouldn't cost more than $200. But the paintwork and the toning on her skin looks amazing. Yeah, it looks very realistic. And the face is also spot on. So this one has potential even though it is a simple figure. Moving on to the next one, another early bird pre-order, no price yet. But you know what? Baji Studio, you need to keep an eye on this one. Wait for more pictures to come out. Wait for the actual price to come out. There's no price or release date yet. This company has a history of making 18 plus figures despite the ban in China. So maybe they are not based in China. Currently, we know nothing yet. They just posted a couple of teaser pictures of this cat stories, 1/6 scale, and she looks pretty good. At least in these teaser pictures, this one has potential. And Baji Studio is one of the few third-party brands that I can say I know quite a bit about them. I've seen their figures, and it is one of those few brands where you can actually go for. They make great figures. Just that, yeah, patiently wait for more pictures before you jump the gun. But if you like what you are looking at already, you don't care about cardstock parts, this is not a bad pre-order at all. Moving on to the next one, Lulan Studio and ZXS Studio has a cardstockable Sukatsuki Ryo from Blue Archive. Yeah, this thing is cardstockable, but you need to buy it separately. It is like an add-on part, right? And this figure starts from $274 for the base model, can go all the way up to almost $700. It is 1/4. And I couldn't scroll through the pictures much for obvious reasons. Just that this thing is cardstockable, both top and bottom, at least for the black color version on the right. And yeah, I know you are cringing on that realistic face already. Same thing on my side. When I saw that realistic face initially, I was like, ugh. And then I scrolled through the pictures. Oh, anime face, which actually looks fine. Don't ruin my 2D anime characters, man. So, to me, this is a bit too simple, the pose and everything. But hey, we don't get many cast-off third-party resins nowadays. So, you may want to check this one out if you can afford it. Moving on to the next one here from Spider Studio, we have a 1/6 scale Mercena from Azur Lane, $230. September release next year. For some reason, I have a feeling that Apex Toys will make a genuine figure of this thing. For some reason, just a personal feeling, a hunch of mine, I don't know. Because, you know, when I look at this figure over here, I feel like I'm looking at an official artwork of one of the game characters. It feels that way to me. So, who knows, it might happen. If you are too impatient and you want your figure bigger in 1/6 scale, then you can check this one out. Basically, she is in a bath, covered in towel only. Face looks pretty good. That blush over there looks fantastic. $230, I'm not sure how to decide. Is that just the right price or is that a bit too expensive? Moving on to the next one here. This is pretty good. Miyin Studio is also a brand that I can vouch for if you're interested. This is Wuthering Waves Flame Wolf Star in the Cafe. No price yet, no release date yet. It is an early bird pre-order. But this early bird teaser picture over here looks fantastic. Like her face over there, man. Beautiful. This is beautiful. This is one of my favorite third parties this week. And speaking of my favorite third parties this week, as we move on to the last figure for this week, this is also among the best third party resins for this week, of course. So we have Hakimi Studio, another brand that I can vouch for. I'm saving the best for the last, as you can see. We have Yixuan from Zenless Zone 0. $266 at 1/6 scale, no release date yet. And looking very promising. This is beautiful. The face, the detail on her outfit and everything. Wow. It is a bit pricey for sure, but very promising. I mean, look at the base over here. Detailed base with this, whatever this thing is. Ho-ho. Yeah, this Yixuan figure together with the Wuthering Waves figure earlier, they are my two favorites this week, for sure. I like it more than the cardstockable Sukatsuki Ryo earlier. This is worth getting. No release date yet, but worth getting. And that is all for figures on pre-order this week. Which one will you pre-order? Let me know down in the comments below. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, found it informative or entertaining, please do give this video a like and subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. Until then, I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching and goodbye.